listening to a band of gamers podcasting since 2012. Three older best mates share a few laughs and keep you current with discussions about the latest news, consoles, and games. Join the conversation and the community. abandofgamers.com. Hey, ABOG. What's going on?
It's a podcast.
That it is. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. You're the best. Glad to have you here. Thanks for the support. We've got a good episode for you. Microsoft isn't the only gaming company buying up developers for exclusive content.
What?
Right? They've been doing a lot of that lately, but there's another one kind of getting in on that action. 2 new games announced based on giant movie franchises. And the nerds rejoiced. Do you need a new TV for your gaming consoles? Got a great article shared from us from our buddy Vince from Wired.com. Makes some really interesting points. I know it saved me a few bucks. I almost made an impulsive purchase, but this sort of calmed me down, explained things. So I wanted to share that. We'll get to what we're drinking, what's in our pint glasses. We've got 2 hidden gem games to talk about. I saw what you guys put in the agenda. I'm calling those hidden gems. I never heard of them. I heard of one, but not the other. Is that cool? Hidden gems?
Yeah, there we go.
Is that right on? And then the boys, the boys apparently want to talk about football and beers. So I don't know what's going on there. You know, we don't really just go through a list of what we've been playing, but for some reason it's on the agenda. I trust these guys got something there. So let's find out together what that's all about. But before we begin, I'm Joel, your MC, one of your 3 co-hosts. I'm recording in Brookfield, Wisconsin, USA. Joining me on this journey for many years now, these fellas. First of all, from Birmingham, England. Maybe tomorrow I'll want to settle down. Until tomorrow, I'll just keep moving on. Yes, he is the littlest hobo. It's Karl. Hey, Karl.
Hello. I hope you got the reference to the TV show there. I don't know if you had it in the States, but we had it here in the 80s. It's about this little dog. He wanders around, and each episode he gets picked up, and maybe he finds his home, maybe he doesn't. And it's a sweet little show. But I had the theme tune in my head, just constantly going over.
And every stop I make a new friend.
That's the one, it.
Because it's a Canadian program. That's a Canadian show.
Yeah, Shane knows. Yeah, we got all that good stuff. But the reason behind this is I've just moved house again. And this is I was adding this up, right? I was going through my head. And this is the 14th house I've lived in my 42 years on the planet, which I think there's quite a lot of house moves, right? And hopefully this one will be a couple of years before. It's all about just making those little steps there and just seeing what happens. But so everything's been moved. This is my first time recording the show in this new setup. So hopefully everything works all right.
Pretty snazzy look behind you there. I like the look of that place. I see a bass. I think I see a guitar. I see an electronic drum kit, a church steeple. You're praying to your music instruments back there. I love it. It's very, very nice setup.
Yeah, man. It's good to have them all open and ready to go. Part of my New Year's resolution this year was to play more. So looking forward to just having them there ready to go.
Live from the atrium. There was 2 great guest stars on The Littlest Hobo. Leslie Nielsen and Mike Myers also did a guest when he was young as a child. At least I loved that show growing up. Unbelievable.
I wonder if that's on Netflix or Hulu or something. I'd have to look into this. It's probably on YouTube.
Yeah.
And from Vancouver, Canada, Magpie's on fire. It's Shane. What's happening, Shane?
Oh, boy. Yeah, it's happening, man. We're going to have a good show today, man. We got a lot to talk about. We got some great games, some great news, man. I'm feeling this one. I'm really feeling it, man. Let's knock this one out of the park again.
That sounds good. I was just looking forward to seeing you guys. It's been 2 weeks. Always like hanging out. Got the beers ready here, cold. I got a little cooler, like a little lunch pail beside me.
That's awesome.
To keep my beers cold. So when we get to that spot, I can pour it fresh because this one's going to be a fresh pour. I'll explain more later.
Nice little, that's a Packers cooler too, man. Go Pack. Let's go.
It's not really, but I like that. Let's say it is. Go Pack. Nintendo bought Next Level Games. Nintendo bought a developer. There's a Vancouver studio, Shane, this Next Level Games. And they've been developing games for Nintendo for 15 years now. So it's not like they're going after some new content here. They're just bringing a longtime partner in-house. That's Next Level Games. They've made such games as Super Mario Strikers on the GameCube, 2005. Great game, right? Punch-Out on the Wii, kind of the reimagined Punch-Out on the Wii. That's 2009. You mentioned
a great game.
The Wii 11 years ago already, man, that game. Time's flying. Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon on the 3DS, which is in 2013. And Luigi's Mansion 3, which I think was in Karl's favorites of the year last year.
It sure was. Fantastic game. But it was my first Luigi's Mansion game, I suppose. But great move this by Nintendo. It reminds you just that they've kind of put this work out there. They've got a trusted developer, and they're just bringing it under their umbrella, aren't they? Just to get a little bit of control and perhaps a bit of direction in what they want them to do. But it just shows the strength that Nintendo have at the moment. I mean, do you remember when they were struggling? It was a couple of periods, around the game after GameCube, and then then the Wii landed. Now, like, oh yeah, this is luckily we've just about done it. And then the Wii U was they seem to just go up and down. But I think the Switch, they are really just piling it on.
Totally, man. The Wii was a huge success. The 3DS was a giant success. The Wii U was like, Wii what? Like, let's forget about that. But now with the Switch, man, they're back on top, right? They're selling more than everybody at the moment.
Yeah, they're knocking it out of the park too, man. They're great, and this is a great next level, great studio. Remember they did a NHL Hits game that was really good way back in the day. I think those are one of their first games. But all their games have been excellent, man. That's a solid acquisition.
I like that NHL Hits game. That was a lot of fun.
Right? Sort
of like a blitz on ice. Mm-hmm. We've got a new open world Star Wars game, Shane, announced. Oh. This is by the new Lucasfilm Games division of Disney, but with Ubisoft. So EA had that 10-year exclusive deal, right, to make Star Wars games. Like, how'd they do?
I think they've had a couple of ropey ones in there. Of late, they've done obviously the open world one. Well, not really open world, but the last one that we had was pretty good. And Star Wars Squadrons was probably better than people thought it would be at a good price point. So I feel like they are learning. I think particularly with Fallen Order, they kind of got that balance in terms of kind of doing it the way that some of the new movies did, introducing a lot of new characters, but some nods to, the iconic moments and the iconic characters that we all know and love, especially Shane. And I feel like EA they've took their time, but they're ending up in a strong place. But this was a surprise to me. I didn't see this kind of blossoming relationship with Ubisoft coming up. I mean, obviously Ubisoft make a lot of open world games, especially the likes of Assassin's Creed and things like that. So perhaps they're thinking that these are the safest pair of hands for them to develop this new game.
This is going to be massive entertainment in Ubisoft, under Ubisoft, which developed The Division and The Division 2. It's using the Snowdrop engine, which Massive just used for The Division 2. And the creative director for The Division 2 also going to be at the helm here with this open world Star Wars game. That Snowdrop engine was also used for South Park, The Fractured But Whole, which is the sequel, that RPG that Shane and Karl also love, and Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle also used the Snowdrop engine. Whereas EA is locked in with the Frostbite engine. And if it's any game coming out of EA except for NHL, sorry, Shane,
it's facts though, man.
I'll use that Frostbite engine. So maybe it has something to do with that, Karl.
Yeah, it could be. And I think that EA are coming to the end of this exclusivity period. I think that 2012, kind of when I think it was when I started, and maybe they've just took a look at it. Disney, the party line is that EA are doing a great job, and we just we feel there's room for other developers to look at Star Wars properties and push that forward. But it probably shows that they've got a lot of ideas. Disney want to they don't want to get into making games directly themselves, but they are taking a lot more of an interest in where those games end up. So yeah, Ubisoft are a logical choice, I think.
You're referring to the Lucasfilm Games division of Disney, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they kind of didn't bring back LucasArts, but they kind of branded their own little video game division rather than it coming directly under Disney. So it's I think a step in the right direction, and I hope if we get like a semi-open world or a sandbox game, a decent RPG kind of thing, then I'll be all over it, obviously, and I'll be probably second in the pre-order queue after Shane.
And I wonder if it's going to be the same kind of model as the Division 2, or like a Destiny, where it's this giant open world game that's planned to live on for many, many years and get a ton of support.
Yeah, it'll be a games for service kind of thing. They'll look at that lifespan. I mean, people still play Destiny 2. People are still really into that game, and it would not surprise if they're looking at something like that having a decent, a 5-year life cycle or something, for one of these new games. But I'm looking forward to it, man. Really am.
And also out of Lucasfilm Games through Disney, we got another announcement. This for a new Indiana Jones game. It's from the Wolfenstein dev, Machine Games, original story, but not based on previous indie movies. And in conjunction, like I said, with Lucasfilm Games, trailer doesn't even give us a logo. The other one, we got a logo. Said they're making a new, which I think this is just the Star Wars logo. I bet both of these games didn't have a game logo. They're so early on that there's, the nothing. Just, hey, we're making stuff. This, though, the Indiana Jones, it's from Bethesda. So I think got a lot of attention because Bethesda is behind it.
And you'd assume, you would assume that this will be a exclusive title as well, for Xbox and PC. And I think it's definitely a genre of game that wouldn't hurt Xbox having. Obviously we've got Uncharted on PlayStation, and it's great. It's a great series. And Tomb Raider has kind of gone across both platforms, and it's had a bit of exclusivity, kind of on both, I guess, at different points. And if this comes out and it's a quality game from Bethesda, bugs expected, of course, but and if it's exclusive to Xbox, it's going to be a real tick in the box.
Now that Xbox owns Bethesda, there's going to be a lot more money behind their development. So, hey, maybe less bugs. Got a lot more testers over there at Microsoft. We shall see. But I'm dubious. I don't know if it's going to be Xbox exclusive. I'm not going to make that assumption because, yes, Xbox owns Bethesda, but this is Disney. This is their Lucasfilm Games division. They may have asked, here's a bunch of money to make the game. We, of course, get a cut of it. But we're asking also that it's on the other consoles. What do you think? Do you think they made that request? Or are you assuming it's going to be Xbox just because it's Bethesda?
I think it'll be exclusive. Purely, like if this was Star Wars, I think it would be a bit different. The fact that it's Indiana Jones is a very loved IP, isn't it? But it's not it's not as big as much of a moneymaker, I wouldn't imagine, as Star Wars would be. So it wouldn't surprise if this is at least a timed exclusive. I would think if it's Microsoft Studio now, that they would be in a position to say to Disney, you're going to get X amount of money because it's going to be on Game Pass. We're making that commitment anyway, and then obviously you've got other ones coming after. So I can't see a game like that coming onto Game Pass and then perhaps people buying it on other consoles at the same time. I think a timed exclusivity at the least would be the sensible option.
Yeah, I think it's one or the other. I think it's either on exclusive or it's not. I don't know about timed exclusive, but that's a good point. Could be timed exclusive. You guys excited for a new Indiana Jones game? I know everybody went nuts. I kind of saw it on Twitter later in the day when I checked out my social media feeds. Really didn't get that excited by it. Maybe I'm not a huge Indiana Jones fan.
I'm not really too familiar with the Indianapolis Jones series, so can't really say much. I don't think I've seen really any of the movies. I mean, I've seen, sometimes they show on like a Sunday afternoon on TV. They'll play one and I've, kind of glanced at it. But I honestly, I don't know too much about the story to get hyped for this video game yet.
Yeah. That's probably fair. To be fair,
Thank you.
to be fair, and I wouldn't say I was hyped. I wouldn't say I was hyped at the fact that it's Indiana Jones. I'm more hyped that it's the kind of game that I really enjoy. The fact that it's an IP, a licensed game, that you're familiar with, never hurts. But obviously, I love those kind of games anyway. Like I get kicks out of Uncharted and Tomb Raider. I think that, I just like that style of game. So for me, yeah, it's great to have a new one of those in production, wherever it may fall, and the fact that it is familiar couldn't hurt. I guess we'll just wait and see what happens with development. Who is Indiana Jones? Are they going for Harrison Ford, the likeness and all the rest of it, or I mean, the old point and click adventure games? You might not have played them. Joel's nodding his head here.
Mm-hmm.
The old LucasArts games were great. They were superb games, and you kind of had the likeness of Indy being Harrison as well. So if they go along the same lines but make them, for this new generation, then that could be awesome.
Kind of making an assumption there about it being Uncharted and Tomb Raider style, right? They didn't show anything in the trailer, just like a map, a whip, and they played the music.
I am making an assumption. I'd love it if it was a point and click. Could you imagine?
It's not a point and click.
Oh, it should be. That'd be the fanboys on both sides would go nuts. Then that'd be brilliant.
You don't hire Bethesda to do a point and click, though, right? That's like Double Fine. Here you go. Here's a point. We need a point and click. You go to the Double Fine boys at that point.
Yeah.
Well, at least it'll be exclusive. So an exclusive point and click game.
Oh man, we shall see.
Podcast.
We shall see. So Karl wants it to be like Uncharted and Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I did see a bit of that in our Discord. I think from Tim Paulin or somebody else is also saying that, right? That would be great if it were those style of games.
Yeah, they're fired up.
It's probably not a first person shooter though. I think that's a good. I think you're onto something there, Karl. It fits the mold. Next, you don't need a new TV for a PS5 or an Xbox Series X. This is an article from Wired.com. Give them a shout. My buddy Vince sent it over to me. I let Vince take home and use my Xbox One X. I've got the Series X. I've got the One X. Like, why do I need to have both of these here? Obviously, the Series X is fully backwards compatible. Every game I can play on the One X, I can play on the Series X. Why not put it in a new home with my Game Pass and all my purchased games and my Xbox Live because of game sharing? Put that under his TV. He's been a PlayStation guy for many years. And voila, he's got hundreds of games, including all the new releases coming out in Game Pass there through Microsoft First Party. He can just play and enjoy all that. Pretty much told him, dude, you won't need to spend $60 like forever if you enjoy any of these. And he's got a whole backlog of stuff to go through, like Gears and the Halos and all these games he hasn't played. But then the next morning, he sent me a text. Now I'm looking at 4K TVs.
Uh-oh.
Like, uh-oh. Here I thought I'm saving you money. Here I thought I did you a solid. Now you're like, crap, now I got to spend $2,000 on a new TV. So like, oh no, I didn't create a monster here. Because he has a 1080p set. He doesn't have a 4K. When you take the One X home, you're thinking, sure be nice if I had a 4K, because he didn't have a PlayStation 4 Pro. He's just got the regular PlayStation 4. And then he sent over this article. Very good timing. Just worked out there that way. But the article basically says you don't need a new TV. If you bought a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X, you probably have a 4K. You probably have a 4K HDR. You don't buy those consoles for your 1080p set. However, if you got a 1080p, you're still getting the faster load times. You're still getting a decent picture, and a lot of those new next gen features. Quick resume. PlayStation 5's got the new controllers with the adaptive triggers. You're still getting all that. And especially if you have a PlayStation 4 and an Xbox One, that 1080p set is perfectly fine. You don't need to yet jump. But I believe it says if you're getting this is my takeaway at least, to kind of say it in different ways. The article is telling you don't need a new TV, but it's also sort of saying if you've got the brand new consoles, you probably already have. Why go buy an Xbox Series X or a PlayStation 5 if you don't have a 4K TV, right? Does that make a lot of sense? I mean, I suppose you can still use it on your 1080p, and you do get those features, but I don't think I would have bought one if I just had a 1080p TV.
Yeah, I think mainly just as long as you have, it's got a solid HDR on the TV. That's probably the biggest difference when it comes to the picture and whatnot. But I mean, 4K, you can get relatively inexpensive 4K TVs now. I don't recommend those. I recommend spending a little bit more money and getting something decent, because I have a Sony 4K TV, our big one in the living room, and then we got this Samsung one that's 4K, and it's just, they don't even belong on the same shelf. Like it's not even close. You need that high refresh rate. You need that that 120 hertz refresh rate, man. Then you're gonna notice. Then the bar's officially open, right? So. I mean, if you're shopping, definitely don't cheap out on it. But definitely do a little bit of research, see them side by side if you can. I know a lot of stores are, doing their thing right now. But yeah, as long as you got 1080p with some good HDR on there, you got that HDR setting going, you'll be absolutely fine. No, you don't have to rush out.
I think you need a 4K TV for HDR though. I haven't seen any 1080. I don't know. I haven't seen any 1080p's with HD. I thought that was more of a 4K feature. Not sure. Now you got me curious.
Great. Just what I wanted to do today on the show. Get everybody curious.
Let's be like all those great gaming podcasts out there. Let's go look it up and just read to you all. No, we won't do that. What do you think of 1080p sets, Karl? And if you need to jump and grab a new 4K? To
be honest, I think Shane's hit the nail on the head there, because when it comes to televisions, and you go to the store and they're all there set to their kind of craziest gamma settings, and the resolution looks amazing, and it's always like a nature program or scenery. They're very slow moving, not static images, but they're very slow panning, or it's kind of replicating that picture that you get in the store at home is almost impossible, even if you Google on Which or whatever and get the correct TV settings. I've never bought a television and been 100% happy as I have been in the store as when I've took it home, if I'm being honest. But if you've got a really good 1080p set, you're probably not, buying a lower end 4K set is not going to be an upgrade. So if you've got a decent 1080p set, there's no reason to change. And I was just, when we've moved out, we've been moving the tellies around in different rooms, and we've got one 4K set, which is a Philips set, and I do like it. It's a good TV. But when I move across onto one of the other, we've got Samsung 1080p sets, HD sets as well. And then, you move it across to there, and there's very, very little difference. Yes, HDR is great, and 4K is good, but it's not it's not a deal breaker. If you've got a good 1080p set, there's no need, I don't think, to upgrade.
And the thing too, the reason why it saved me some money, I mentioned here at the intro, I've got a really good 4K HDR set. It's got 120 hertz, but only in the 1080p setting. It doesn't have the 2.1 HDMI, which these consoles, so if you've got a PlayStation 5 and an Xbox Series X or both, and you want to go buy a new 4K TV, Shane and Karl are right. You got to spend up. You've got to get the expensive one with the 120 hertz 4K and the 2.1 HDMI. And right now, those are really expensive. So as the article says, and I completely agree, if you wait a couple years, that's going to be like a normal feature set on all the new 4Ks. They'll all have the 120 hertz and the 2.1 HDMI, and you'll save $500 or $1,000 just waiting a couple years, because those televisions will come down. And that's what the article says really, really well there. Kind of wraps that up at the end. Okay, and I was, as soon as I got that console, I'm like, now I need the 2.1 and I need the 120 hertz and I need no, you don't. It still looks great at 60 frames and the 4K. It still looks excellent. It's probably, especially at this point of these consoles, they're not going to take full advantage, or not many games will take full advantage of that 120 hertz 2.1. But revisit that in 3 years, where a lot of the games are taking advantage of that, and the TVs come down a few $100 by that point.
Yeah, couldn't agree more, mate. And if you have got, I wouldn't rush out and upgrade to the current generation of consoles anyway. Certainly not at the moment. I think the sweet spot is probably going to be in 2022. With, like you say, a couple of years under the belt, and getting the best out of them, and the games will be there then as well. So if I'm Vinny and I'm sat there with that Xbox One X, it's a great 1080p machine, right? And you've got a good 1080p set. That'll do you. That's fine. There's no need to look to upgrade unless you really, really want to.
Okay, so I'm seeing some conflicting reports about 1080p and HDR. It sounds like there is 1080p HDR TVs out there. Not very many. Doesn't seem like there's too many that made it to the West. It may not be. Who knows what it is? So if I'm incorrect, I apologize. But it's going to take a lot of research. That probably is kind of splitting hairs. So yeah, get yourself a good TV, like Karl said.
Hey, we just said don't buy a TV.
Yeah, don't buy a TV.
And according to Karl, we shouldn't buy the new consoles either. Dude, we're such hypocrites. We all got 4Ks. We all got the new consoles, but we're like, you don't need any of those things. Dude, we're awful. Yeah, we're awful.
No, we're not. Look, it's comparisons, isn't it? Like if someone had said to me, generational leaps, right? So, PS2 to PS, if you like, I'm going to get a PS3 and I'm going to get a HD TV, right? That step from PS2 to PS3 and a HD TV is massive. The step from PS3 to PS4, not as massive. And I think this leap from PS4 to PS5 is even smaller. But it's just being honest, isn't it? You don't. There's no need to make that leap at all at the minute. I'm glad I've got the PS5. Fine, there's certain benefits to it. Faster loading and all the rest of it. Like, and that's great. But yeah, I wouldn't be like, I've got to have one. Hell no.
Well, I've got a New Year's resolution to not buy a PlayStation 5. Karl, why don't you send yours over to me then? You don't need it. Just send it over here, so I end up not buying it. I still win.
The only way that's happening is if I come to see you this year, which, let's face it, doesn't look likely. The weight of this thing, it probably cost me as much to just send you the money to buy one. Honestly, carrying it up and down the steps is like, it's a workout.
And it's pretty big too, so you'd have to fit it in like a crate or something. You know what I mean? That ain't going in an overhead.
You'd need a shipping container just for that.
Right.
Well, that's it for the news. This is this part of the show where we share the new podcast reviews we've gotten.
Yes.
Yeah. We didn't get any.
What?
We didn't get any new podcast reviews.
Come on, it was Christmas as well, man.
I know. You know what I'm thinking? I don't know if this is true, but we get some downloads. Maybe they're just not listening. Maybe it just shows up in their phone and they just don't listen. Not sure. If you're listening out there and you haven't left us a review, why don't you do that for us? Leave us a review. Tell us how we're doing. We'd love to hear from you. As always, we thank you for your support. We appreciate you. And maybe next episode we'll read that review on the show. That'd be nice.
Yeah, you could see it now. There's someone who's just upgraded their phone, and when they're deleting everything off their old phone, there's 100 episodes of About a Game or something. They're like, oh God, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can also join us in Discord. We've got a Discord going, abandongamers.com. You can find the link to that. Lots of great folks over there chatting up TVs and games and beers, the humor thread. It's enlightening. A lot of positive people over there. It's a positive community. I can't talk. I'm so excited. All those reviews. Don't embarrass us, right? Don't embarrass me. I can't show up every show and be like, here's the reviews. Just gonna have to nix that whole segment.
Yeah, you don't want to start nixing stuff. Come on. One review. That's it. Let's go. For the next episode, give us one review.
Thank you. You guys got your drinks ready over there? It's time to share what we got in our pint glasses. I haven't seen any. Shane's got a pint glass full of water, I think I've seen. There it is. Karl's got some beer. Karl, you want to get us started, man?
I sure can. Always happy to open a brew. So it's been stout season, pretty much, right? So we've had Christmas, there's been lots of red wine flowing and port. Port. And, stouts go so well with all that. But I've started getting back on some of the beautiful, tasty IPAs. I've been visiting Vocation Brewery a lot lately, and tonight's particular tipple is a triple IPA.
Ooh.
And you can see this. It's a real sedimentary one, dear Watson. It's pretty thick and juicy. It's called Mesmerism, and this was one I just picked it up at random. Really, I was like, just whacked it in, and then I started drinking it, and I was like, yeah, this is really quaffable. And then I looked at the percentage, and this weighs in at 10%.
Wow.
Yeah, and it kind of gives it away that it's really, really hoppy, and just a little the fruitiness and the juiciness is there, but it's really soft. It's quite subtle. It's just easily drinkable, and at 10%, you don't know it's there. But get up from the couch after a couple of these, you know about it.
Ooh.
Buddy.
You ain't sitting back down.
The gravity will pull you back down, though, sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, you just get that hoppiness, just the aftertaste on your tongue a little bit. Just that little tang that lets you know that this beer means business. But yeah, it's a great brew.
A good color to it. Looks delicious here from the looks. Shane, you got your beer poured. You ready to share what you got there, buddy?
You got it, man. All right, one of my favorite beer is from Boombox Brewing. It's called Subsonic. It's 4%. Great, nice and light, full flavor, absolutely delicious. Oishi for our Japanese listeners. And it's my go-to beer. You can have a dozen of them. You can have 20 of them. Good luck. It's really good. So what Boombox has done is they went and they took that beer and they doubled everything up. They took that recipe, turned it into a double IPA. Doubled the percentage. It's 8%. They changed the logo on the bottle, can. They all come in cans now anyway. So yeah. So I have Boombox's Hypersonic. They're 8%. Double IPA. Absolutely delicious. Fantastic. Everything you'd want in a proper IPA. Nice and cloudy. Nice bitterness. Full of hop flavor. Absolutely delicious. Great beer. Great brewery, man. They're becoming my favorite brewery, man. They brew right out of Parallel there. So it's it's like seeing old friends going down there. Get a little of this, get a little of that. That's what we do. And we're rocking the Hypersonic today, man. We're going 8%.
Nice.
Love it.
Isn't it nice when you find a brewery that you just, most of the beers are just hitting it out of the park. It's a great beer. It's a great beer. And I'll tell you what, with Vocation as well, I had brilliant customer service from them. My latest case arrived, and I was missing a couple of their breakfast stouts, which you don't have them for breakfast, but they're like blueberry and raspberry stouts, lovely things. And so I pinged them a quick email, and I was like, really sad. Like I'm missing a couple of beers, and within like 3 minutes, emailed me back. Really sorry. We'll refund you. We'll give you a code for no delivery, no delivery fee next time round. Just brilliant service. So I was very, very impressed with them.
Wait a minute. You can have beers delivered to you in England?
Of course, yeah.
Can you do
here too?
Oh man, they don't trust us Americans. We got to show our ID. They can't deliver it to the house. And
dude.
We get wine delivered and we have to sign for it. Can't just leave it.
It's an interesting thing because it depends on the business. So sometimes you get a knock on the door and it's just left outside. I think they just have to take a photo showing it's been delivered. But that's outside the door. But if we have sometimes people send you stuff from Amazon, like, a bottle of champagne or whatever, and then that'll turn up and then you have to sign for that and show ID. So it's a bit different.
Okay. I guess the laws are stricter here. Bunch of drunks over here in the States, you guys.
Well, I mean, locally, they're not putting it through the mail. I think in Alberta they can mail beer or courier it throughout the province. I've seen, but in BC, I mean, locally here, I mean, I just order from Parallel, and on Tuesdays is a delivery day in my area, so they leave it at the front door. Come home and don't have to worry about the drive into town or whatnot. It's pretty good.
That's brilliant. I've been doing some curbside. So you call the liquor store, tell them what you want, show up, they bring it out to your trunk, But then through the window of my vehicle, I've got to show them my ID. Here's something embarrassing. When I go to the grocery store, mask up, safe, social distancing, all that. I check out. I've got my mask on. Not getting carded. Apparently, the upper portion of my face looks old enough. My eyes look like I'm an old man, apparently. Maybe it's the haircut. Like, oh, that's definitely an old guy. Like, I'm not getting carded with a mask on my face. It's actually hurting my confidence a little bit. Gotta be honest. Didn't think I looked that old, but apparently, from just the eyes and the hairdo, it's like, yep, he's good. He's 50. No ID needed. Go ahead. You're good, sir. Go ahead.
I've been ID'd at one place and they asked me to pull the mask down just to see and whatnot. But I hate being ID'd.
I still like it. Still, it helps me feel young.
Yeah, I can't. Like the store IDs me. It's like I usually don't go back there.
You said all IPAs come in cans. Wrong. Some still come in bottles.
Yes.
My guy over at 1840 there, the guys over at 1840, the guys and gals, still putting them in these old school, like brown bottles, right? Almost looks like back in the day, kind of a brown bottle. They also have their really nice labels. And we went and did a fire pit the other day, a week ago. 1840 is at a park. You can reserve a fire pit. So we got 2 other couples together, did some social distancing outside at a fire pit. They had a little QR code at the table. You scan the QR code, it brings up a menu. You order your 1840 draft beers. They bring them out to you. That was wow. Wonderful. It's great to see Kyle at 1840. I haven't had their draft beers, their tappers since the beginning of 2020. Because once the pandemic hit, they've just doing takeout and only bottles. So I've been missing the really good draft beer. So when I saw they're doing that fire pit thing at a park, I'm like, we've got to go. It's like $20. You get 2 hours at a fire pit, get some firewood. Then you ordered.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And they had at that fire pit, they had Pillow Top. Pillow Top I can only get from them like once or twice a year. One of my favorite 1840s. We get there. Holy crap, they have Pillow Top on the menu. Wow, man, this is so cool. Like they must be an exclusive to the fire pit. Like, oh, awesome. You guys are brilliant. You're not even advertising it. It's like a secret. Yeah. Like, put that on your website. I'd have been here like last week. I'd be at your fire pit every day if I saw you at Pillow Top. Then lo and behold, the new bottle release came out this week, and it's Pillow Top. Ordered a case. Got 6 left. We had a good night last night. Packers won. Shay and I really enjoyed the celebration of that Packers win. But Pillow
on, buddy. Let's go.
Pillow Top is it's just a very thick, and we show our beers to each other and we talk about how you can see them, even though you're listening to an audio podcast, you can't. But I still, for the benefit of my guys here, hold up my beer, nice thick, and you got to pour this one. And I poured it a little while ago, so it's kind of already died down. But typically, when you pour a good beer, right, you tilt the glass to the side. You make sure that you're pouring it directly on the glass. Not straight in because you get like a ton of head, right? You don't pour it right. But this one, you gotta tip it off with an incorrect pour to get that nice frothy Pillow Top head. And it's still maintaining it a little bit. But just a great beer. It's a Citra hop beer, double dry hopped with Citra and Strata. Very delicious. I don't know the percentage. 8%. So
just be an 8er, yeah.
Just like Shane's.
Oh, look at that. That's a great chug.
Yeah.
Took a big sip of it. You can see it just kind of leaves the sentiment, as Shane calls it, kind of right there on the side. You can, as you drink this one down, it'll leave that all the way down the glass. You'll just have that froth. An excellent beer. Hopefully these other 6 last.
Beautiful. Great looking beer.
But let's raise our glasses. Cheers. Thank you for listening. We appreciate it. Hope to hear from you. Cheers.
Cheers.
Well, let's get into our hidden gems here. Some games that maybe you haven't heard about. I know Shane was going nuts on the Facebook or our Discord. Or I think it's in our Discord I saw you talking about this. I've never played it. Never read the comic. Never watched the cartoon. Didn't see the movie. No clue. But tell us about this game.
Scott Pilgrim is back.
Yes.
a cult classic game from back in the PS3, Xbox 360 era. It's a beat 'em up. It's a beautiful game. It's got that old school kind of 16-bit, 32-bit style graphics. And I believe it came out in 2009-ish. No, it'd be 2010. Somewhere around there. But it was like the first like kind of retro-looking themed game that really kind of took off and grew a large fan base. You know, you didn't see too much. I mean, you saw more like cel-shaded style games that were really popular back then. You know, a bit more cartoony and whatnot. But this is it's a real throwback to, you know, that early 90s era. And it's, you know, it takes place in Canada. You know, it takes place in Toronto. Lots of Canadian charm in it. It's great, you know. And yeah, it's back. It was and the reason why this is so important is because it was previously it was delisted, you know, and then some licensing went up and whatnot. However, on PlayStation, when something gets delisted, you can, you know, re-download it if you delete it off your hard drive and whatnot. That wasn't the case on the 360. If you had deleted it, you couldn't re-download it. And there was no physical copies of this at all. And there was a lot of people upset by that. But they've come back. It's a 10th anniversary. It's a complete edition. It's got all the DLC, all the stuff that you've been needing. It is back in the game, and it's fantastic. It is a superb beat 'em up game. If you're a beat 'em up fan, this is a must own. It really is. It's a must own game. Like I said, all sorts of charm in it. The soundtrack is phenomenal. It is absolutely superb. Great chip tunes in it. Just all sorts of that old school goodness that, you know, you want from a beat 'em up game. You know, you want that, you know, to bring you back to your childhood. Have that feeling. You know, make it bubbles hard too. And this game is hard. You can play it on the easiest level. This game is still hard, right? You're playing it on your own. You know, you're gonna have a pretty decent time. But it really shines when you get into that co-op, man. It's got 4-player co-op. This has got online now. I can't quite recall if the original had online, but we can do it. You can play online co-op, and you can have a blast with your friends. Get a few buds together. You know, smash through some levels. The levels are, you know, a little bit long. You know, they're a little bit long till you get to the boss, but you know, it's worth it, man. There's so many great things. You know, you beat up an enemy and they drop some coins. You know, you pick up those coins. And they're Canadian coins too, so you'll see like a toonie in there. You know, which is a $2 coin, kids. That's what we do in Canada. We have a $2 coin. And it's, you know, you buy power-ups, you know, get some more health, you know, you buy all these upgrades and whatnot in the stores. And yeah, it's fantastic. And if you're worried that it's a download-only game and this might happen again, being delisted, don't worry. The good friends, whether you love them or hate them, but Limited Run Games has a open pre-order. Okay, so it's an open pre-order until the end of February 28th. The open pre-order ends. They have a bunch of different versions. There's a collector's version. You get the standard version and whatnot. It is for the PlayStation 4 and also the Nintendo Switch physical copies that are up now. They have mentioned that an Xbox One version will be coming at some point. I'm not quite sure on when. I can't give you those details. But if you're a PlayStation 4 owner, if you're a Nintendo Switch owner, and you like beat 'em ups, this is definitely one to grab. But make sure, you know, go over there, support them. I ain't getting the spiff off this. They ain't giving me no spiff. I ain't getting no commish off this. But if you want that physical copy, get over there while the open pre-order is up and live. I'll definitely be grabbing a copy. You know, I like my physical copies. And it's going to look good on the shelf. Got a lot of games on that shelf, and it's going to look good on there. So looking to pick that one up. Started playing, and it's relatively well priced. If you get the download in the US, it's only $15. I mean, that's literally like the price of a cup of coffee nowadays. $15. I think it was $20 here in Canada. If you go over to Limited Run, the base version is $35. So you can pay a little bit more, but you're gonna have that great copy till the end of time. So definitely, Scott Pilgrim, man, it's a great game, man. Great game. I wasn't a big fan of the movie, but it is a solid movie. Very, you know, comic booky. You know, there was a big visual novel series and whatnot. You know, characters and all that are great. You know, So yeah, it's good. It's good stuff, man. And it's a great game.
Nice.
Very cool. We're not big social media people here at A Band of Gamers, but our Instagram game and that gaming shelf and all the great games Shane shares over there at A Band of Gamers on Instagram, worth a follow. Can't wait to see this one up on there in the future. And you said open pre-order for limited run.
Yes.
Does that mean that there's like unlimited number during this time period? Because normally they have limited numbers, right?
Yeah.
Hence limited run games. 10,000, 1,000, whatever, 5,000. Then they're gone. This one they're treating differently, and they're just however many they sell. You can get one a little easier.
Yeah, if they've it all depends on the licensing that they have. Sometimes they only get the license in order to do, say, 3,000 copies or 2,000 copies or whatnot, and people scoop them up pretty quick. And I get that can be frustrating for some. It definitely is. When you really have your heart set on a game that you absolutely love, that definitely hurts. But this is an open pre-order. Up for over a month. A month and a half that it's up. I mean, this is a money printing machine for them. Like, they're gonna make an absolute killing off this game. Like, I can only imagine. I mean, what are they gonna have? Like, what, 20,000? I kind of guesstimated that they might be able to do on this. I mean, there's a big following for this game, so that's a lot of bank. It's a lot of bank kids. They hit it out of the park with their business model and what they did. It's just when you can't get something, it only makes you want it more, right? So the next game on there, you're even more hooked on what they're doing, man. They're just they got that carrot out there, just dangling it, man. It's great. But yeah, fan of the game. Definitely pick this version up. It's superb, brilliant. Very much enjoying it.
Good man. I really enjoyed that on the PS3, and like you said there, once you deleted it, you couldn't re-download it after it disappeared. So nice to know that it's been picked up for this limited run. If the postage was better, mate, from Canada, I'd definitely jump on it. I wish I'd pre-ordered the Streets of Rage one as well. Streets of Rage came out last year, but it's just the postage is just mental over here. But hey ho. I've been playing a little bit of Manhunter on the PS5, which if you want to pretend to be a shark and go around killing humans and various other things, this is the game for you.
Is it Manhunter or Maneater? You are drinking. You're drinking a triple. I mean, I totally can excuse you there.
This is not the first beer of the day either. But I'm on it together. I'm all right. Maneater. Thanks for that, Joel. Manhunter was a completely different game. But this is pretty cool. It's kind of like an action role play game where you play. It's got a GTA, but with a shark. And you kind of start the game as an adult shark, and you encounter this dude. I keep wanting to call him Stinky Pete because he's called Scaly Pete, but Stinky Pete just sits in your head from Toy Story, doesn't it? And I was like, okay, well, Scaly Pete, and basically he kills the mama shark and it pulls you out as a little baby shark. Don't sing the song, and throws you back in the water, and then you kind of, your story is you've got to get revenge on this dude. You kind of grow from this tiny little baby bull shark into ultimately like a giant megalodon, and wreak your havoc on all the hunters. And it's a lot of fun. This came out in 2020 on PS4 and Xbox One, and it had a decent kind of reception. The developer's not one I'm particularly familiar with. I think they made Killing Floor. I think that's the only other game that I think they've done. And it's just not like something a little bit different. It's something that if you like your open world games, like your action adventure games, just doing it from the shark's perspective is kind of funny. And you just get to get up to mischief and do some crazy stuff in the ocean. So been enjoying that, and it's free on PlayStation Plus for PS5 owners at the moment. I don't think it's free for PS4, just PS5, which is a bit of a bind. But if you've got a PS5, pick it up. It's definitely worth jumping into and getting your feet wet or your fins wet.
Get on up.
That does look like a lot of fun. But I don't have a PlayStation 5, so I guess I can't. What's up with that, man? Why are you only putting it out? It's a PS4 game. Why are you only putting it free on PlayStation 5, a PS4 game? For Plus.
To be fair, I think they've got to they've gone through this thing where they're putting PS5 games on Plus, haven't they? So they've got to do something. That's what I was thinking. But it's pretty good, in all fairness. Quite enjoyable. Not quite as enjoyable as a game or two of FIFA. Me and Shane got up to last night, and this is why it's in the agenda. Yeah, we thought it's been a while, man. We needed to test my internet out before we recorded today as well. Just test that new Virgin internet out and see what the crack is with it. So we opened a few beers and we played some games, and then we thought, let's stream some of this as well. And just like with Extra Life, people seem to enjoy watching us play football and listening to me talk to myself for the first 40 minutes, but not pointing any fingers at anybody.
What?
Hey. Hey. I take full credit for that.
What'd you do?
It's the PS5 interface, in all fairness, Joel. It was hilarious because we were playing and we were chatting away and we were streaming it, and then people were jumping into the chat and going, "We can't hear Shane." I was going, "Oh no, okay." But it is the interface issue of the PS5. Like, it's buried within, the kind of the party thing, and you have to share your audio. It was much more obvious on the PS4, in all fairness. But yeah, we had a great time with that. It's some great listener interaction. Shout out to Tim and Darshan and Mike, who were jumping in there, cheering us on and willing us to select random teams to play each other with. But one of the main reasons why I put this in here is because I've never known us play FIFA and literally every single game was a draw.
All but one, and the one that you did take the dub on, it was a 3-2 win, and I got that second goal to bring the deficit to one, literally in extra time, like another minute or two. I know Palmer, he won't admit this publicly, but I think he knows. Like he got by the skin of his teeth on that one. Like, it was, the boys were buzzing.
I admit that. Yeah,
the boys were buzzing. That, and could have very easily been another draw, but regardless, it was absolutely phenomenal. There's games where either one of us would win up 3 buzz,
2 or 3 goals. Yeah, it's mad.
And just fighting back, and it was great. And there's just some great banter, and the chat with everybody pitching in and whatnot. It was just absolute brilliant, and that's when streaming becomes an absolute joy, and it's brilliant. So yeah, thank you to everyone for showing up and letting us know. That was great.
So how do we know how to catch the next one? You guys tweet that out?
Yeah, it was a bit of a last minute thing, but I think we are going to try and do it like maybe once a month, and whether it's FIFA or something else, just have a chat, have a beer, and we'll stream something and something entertaining. But FIFA's so entertaining, like, yes, but some of the games are crazy, and just keep stay tuned to the Twitter channel, and obviously if you've not seen me on Twitch, it's Stratham. Twitch.tv/Stratham. You can head over there and watch the highlights from last night's games, especially the Glasgow derby. That was something hilarious.
Great banter, and some great commentary too. Like, it's just it's the full package. This is what you want when you're wanting to watch somebody stream a sport game. You got the K-Palm. And you got the big man here, going toe to toe, and it's something else. It's a real treat. So,
yeah, good fun. Yeah, it's just nice to have to share that, just a little bit of community fun, little bit of online enjoyment. But yeah, it was a blast.
Love it. Totally missed it. 6 pillow tops between my wife and myself. Big Packers win.
You have more important games to focus on.
Oh, man. I love my Green Bay Packers, and they got a big win. So I was just beside myself, excited over here, yelling at the TV. I also love my dog a lot. My dog, Clyde, is a sweetheart, man. He's sensitive. He is so sensitive, though. And he knows, like for example, he doesn't like yelling, and I'm pretty calm, right, guys? I mean, for the most part, I'm not okay.
Sure.
I'm not a yeller, No. But I've got a cat named Domino, and whenever Domino is really old, And I think he might be going deaf because you call his name a few times. It takes him a while. You got to increase volume before he's like, huh? Looks at you and like, oh yeah, okay. But he also like, he bellows. He'll just be in the other room, just bellowing. And it's, I love him to death, but after a while I want to throw him out the window. I'm like, shut up. I'm trying to work or I'm trying to do something here. And he just, for like an hour, and after a while, I'm fairly patient, but after a while, I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, I just lose it. So, and Clyde hates yelling. He gets upset. He gets sensitive. He gets like, he just goes and cowers, it shakes and shivers. And so I'm really careful about that around the dog. He's so smart that when Domino starts bellowing, he knows in about 5-10 minutes, Dad's going to be like, shut the fuck up. So he like, once Domino starts bellowing, he cowers and he goes and like, he knows what's coming. Oh, no. He goes and leaves the room.
Oh, poor guy.
Oh, it's freaking awesome. And I had a reason why I brought up my dog, and now I've completely lost track of why I brought up my dog. God darn it.
Packers. And you're having a, couple pillow talks and yelling at the TV.
Thank you. Yeah, yelling at the TV. We get so passionate about the games, and he's just like, like sitting there, like, should I leave now, or are they going to freak out? Luckily when we lose, yeah, he's 3 rooms away. He's like, my parents are mad. They're losing it. I can't take it. I got to go. But he hung out on the couch the whole time. We were just cheering joy. It was a great game. Yep.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Hopefully we can win some more. We got to close with sports, right? I mean, this is what we do, right? You made it this far. We'll bring you the entertainment here. Talk some sports now. Let's get out of here. Let's beat that hour deadline. Off to a great start this year in 2021.
Right. 45 minutes into the show, should probably check and see if anybody can hear me. So why not?
I'd have let you know about 20 minutes in, probably.
Yeah. All right, kids.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for listening. We really appreciate you. If you could do us a solid, leave a review. Come join us in Discord. That'd be fantastic. Seriously, we'd love to hear from you. Without you, it's just Shane, Karl, and myself just chit-chatting on Google Meetings. Until next time, 2 weeks from now. Going for a full year again, aren't we, guys? Consistent every other week, setting the 2-year record.
Fired up.
All right, everybody.
Okay. Leave us a review.
See ya.
Or else.
Bye.
Or else. Is that some sort of like internet threat?
I don't know.
I guess so.
Let us know. Bye.